Hey guys, this is Black 117 here, and today I'll be going over our BPL season 4 finals as we are up against 0. Well, yeah, that's double zero if you ask me. I'll just refer to him as 0. So, and yeah, this is grand finals basically. So the way this works is that since we like, as in both me and Zero, both won our respective uh, divisions. I'm from Shield Division, and he was from Sword Division. Uh, like the winner of both divisions get to battle in the grand finals of BPL Season 4. So, um, just get right into the matchups. And honestly, this is a very weird but scary matchup if you ask me, because Zero has a lot of capable wall breakers between H slash, Nidoking, Entei, and the Mega Latios even, as well as some very strong walls like Swampert, Zapdos, Sylveon, Tangela, and of course the one Pokemon that's sticking out as a sore thumb, though it is very like I've rarely seen him use it, but he has used it somewhat okay. But it is the Barraskewda, and honestly, I don't think he brings it. I think he brings more central part of his team. You know, Sylveon, Zapdos, Latios, that part of that exact part. But of course, the number one Pokemon that I think he'll definitely bring is H slash. That Mon is just a threat. Like, just look at that thing. And just look at my team. That thing could just like slice and dice across. If you ask me, whether it's Swords Dance, Specs, Choice Band. I had to prep like significantly for this Pokemon throughout like prep. So that's like the one Pokemon that I had to like give respect to the most. And I guess like the other Pokemon I gave respect to was like Zapdos, Barraskewda, Nidoking. Well, I had to give respect to everything he had. So like hell, like if we're being very honest, like a nasty plot, Alolan Persian was something I was scared of because I had like very few um switch-ins to that thing, if you ask me, because that could just like force a switch and like he just had nasty plots up and yeah. Um, so we'll just get right into the team. I'm not gonna go over every Pokemon since that just takes too long. I'll just go over like my exact team and what I'm bringing for it. So now, shout outs to Whitney Houston or whoever wrote this. I don't think the songwriter included this last part, but maybe I did. But you know, um, so yeah, we'll just go into the going over our team. So we have Gliscor, and one thing you'll notice is that Gliscor lacks Earthquake this game, and I wasn't like keen on bringing like EQ, especially with Latios and Zapdos being like very common switch-ins to Gliscor. Of course, um, the number one reason why I didn't bring EQ Gliscor is because outside of those two is the possible um like SD air slash, or not air slash, but like air balloon air aegis slash, and that thing was something that I was like extremely terrified of, and I did not want to give it setup fodder. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go with knockoff and knockoff. And I was debating between EQ, Earthquake, knockoff, Toxic. But I ended up going with this set because I felt like Gliscor can set up rocks easily. I can get knockoff chip. I can remove items. I can go for toxics. Just poison Pokemon. Force him to heal bell with Sylveon, etc. etc. Like, knockoff is just amazing if you ask me. It's probably one of the top 5 moves in the game. Especially when, if I'm able to remove items, like let's say from let's Zapdos with like boots, Aegis Slash, though I am careful of that thing being like weakness policy, but you know, it is what it is. Barraskewda, annoying, but remove that item and we'll figure it'll be less threatening if it's Choice Band or Life Orb. Nidoking, same thing. Entei, yeah. As you can see, like most of his team doesn't want to appreciate getting knockoff or toxic. Even Latios is like it's super effective against Latios, but of course it's a mega, so it's gonna eat it. It's gonna take that well. So um, the only other thing I'll say about this score is it's of course my rocker, my it is especially defensive in a way since it's very likely that he's gonna bring like maybe like Zapdos with Power Ice and Aegis Slash with maybe that option. Um, since this is technically we are allowing like cut moves in this league, so yeah, I do have to be watching out for like hidden power ices on this Gliscor, so that's why it was more especially defensive in this game. Then the last thing I'll say is like the speed on Gliscor is mostly for like Swampert or Aegis Slash. I just want to get outspeed those guys for sure, and if they outspeed me, then I know 100% that those guys are scarfed. You don't know what? You probably are like, what the fuck? Like Scarf Aegis Slash? And I'm like, yes, I brought a Scarf Aegis Slash once, and that's a possibility, so even though that is unlikely. Next Pokemon we'll go over is Will. And Will is kind of an interesting Pokemon, if you ask me, or Silvally, because it's kind of like a bluff between a defensive like pivot and setup sweeper, because this thing does have toxic, and for a long time I was debating between having a parting shot and flame charge. I ended up going with the flame charge option because I felt like there was a possibility that I wasn't going to have like I wasn't able to like go and like just sweep him right then and there. So and parting shot, yeah, I could pivot around his team, but at the same time, if I need to sweep him right then and there, and if say Nidoking or Entei still or like Barraskewda, Persian or whatever is in front of me or Latios, I still need to like I'm still slower than those Pokemon. I need of course this is gonna be like late game. I'm not talking like early and mid game. I doubt that will occur, but if it does occur, then I will go for that win con. So Valley is just basically amazing. It's an amazing like pivot if you ask me between most of his stuff, especially for Latios. I did consider like Metagross for this battle, but then H slash is just annoying, and I don't want to like switch into that thing too often with Silvally. I have like a very broad, bulky team. If you look at what I brought, so you're mostly gonna see this thing being like switch into Latios, switch into Sylveon, maybe Tangela, and that's about it. And multi attack, it's stupid hard with that like 120 like base power, and since I am steel type, I am immune to all like toxics as well as taking less chip from rocks, and also I just like double resist Latios' stabs. So I am also concerned about the possibility of Dragon Dance Latios, but it is something that I will have to just take into consideration when prep. So yeah, it is something that I was kind of concerned about, but at the end of the day, you can't account for everything. So that's why I actually had Toxic on like Gliscor and by on Valley, so that way I could just wear Latios down over time. So yeah. Next Pokemon is our Cleric, and I'll go over this guy really quickly, and it's like Licky Licky. The only thing I'll say is that this thing has boots, and this really here because I don't want to get poisoned by toxic spikes. Like Licky Licky's main purpose is just to like heal up most of the team. Let's say Suicune, Silvally, Mew. Of course, I do have Heal Bell. It's gonna be annoying for Gliscor because I will have to activate Toxic Orb every now and then if I do click the Heal Bell button, but it is helpful. So this thing is setup fodder for Aegis Slash. I will give you that. But at least I have Wish, so I could switch into let's say Suicune or like Silt Valley or Gliscor, and yeah, I could just get them healed up immediately. So or he'll just kill me and I just get a free switch. So whatever. um, Likewise, having those boots is pretty nice because I'm not getting, like I said, like I'm not taking any chip from like rocks. I'm not taking any chip from possible toxic spikes, and that's gonna be very important since he's gonna have to like attack me or just go for toxic spam. Yeah, against Licky or most of my team. So, and that's like gonna be the only way you're gonna be able to chip this guy down. So, um, yeah, we'll just go on to the next Pokemon, and that is Aerodactyl. So, Aerodactyl has Rock Slide, Crunch, Pursuit, and Earthquake. And looking at his team, Aerodactyl does amazing against like some of the more offensive members of his team, like the Nidoking, the Entei, the Aegislash, even if it's like in Blade form, and if it's like, especially if it's like an offensive set that doesn't have King Shield, the Latios that's maybe weakened, Zapdos, etc., etc. Of course, there are Pokemon that I'm concerned about, like Swampert, Scarf Nidoking, Barraskewda, especially when I'm running Adamant Nature. And I'll get to that last part in a bit, but one thing I will say is that the primary goal of Aerodactyl is being a revenge killer or cleaner for this team. I generally wanted Aerodactyl to just be able to pursue trap Aegislash and Latios when the time came, since those two are just gonna switch around constantly, and I don't want them doing anything for my team. I want them gone ASAP. And with Tough Class boosted pursuit, if I'm able to get the right call, I should be able to Oko, Aegislash in Blade form, Latios if it's like below 50%. So yeah. Um, what else I would say about this guy? Oh yeah, like I do have Earthquake, and I think this was like I was like very it was a toss up between Earthquake and Rocks and Roost, and I ended up going with Earthquake because I felt like there was a possibility that I might get walled by Entei, as well as like I don't want to be in the King Shield like games with Aegislash unless he doesn't have it said King Shield. So anything else I would say about this arrow? I'm trying to remember. Okay, the last thing I remember about this Aerodactyl like was basically there was this whole debate between me going for like Jolly or Adamant Nature, and I realized that Adamant Nature was probably the better of the two natures instead of Jolly because of course with Jolly I outspeed Barraskewda, but Adamant Nature ensures that I some two shots. Like I said, like with Pursuit, I should be able to two shot Latios with like rocks or something like that if it gets chipped down. I should be able to two shot like a defensive Zapdos with Rock Slide. Um, Aegislash, like it gets like a 60 or 70% chance. No, 60 or 70%, like around that range in Blade form. I should be able to Oko it with like a Pursuit, and so on and so forth. Like this guy is just basically our cleaner for this game. And if we're able to, chip his team down, then that's great. And just we want to make sure that this guy is the main Pokemon that should just outspeed everything and just clean through his team. He does have very strong priority options like the Aegislash with Shadow Sneak, Nidoking with Sucker Punch, Entei with the E Speed, and Primeape has been very successful as a Scarfer for him lately. So I do have to count possible Scarf Zapdos and like Nidoking. But again, I want Aerodactyl to be the guy like I need for the very end of the game. So um we are going for our last two Pokemon named Blue. So first one is obviously Mew, the Blue. And this is probably a very weird set. And as you can see, he doesn't have a normal type. And the way I'm going to exploit this is basically just going with this set, really. With Nightshade, Cosmic Power, Taunt, and Roost. And as you can see, this Mew is pretty much designed to be like a win con. It is a bit stally and it is a bit like bulky. I actually considered like a possible Calm Mind Shadow Ball Mew, but then I realized that Aegislash and Latios were just gonna be a little bit too much for my team, so I ended up just going with this set instead because with Nightshade, I'm able to figure out his exact HP investment, and I'm able to chip his team down consistently over time instead of just like a weaker Shadow Ball coverage. So, and it also gets through like Persian. Of course, this does mean that I'm not OHKOing these Pokemon, but I have to work for like getting those kills with this setup. And of course, this Mew is technically it's like mid early to mid game it'll act like a wall, like a taunt Stallbreaker. But once I get rid of let's say Aegislash or knock off some items, and if I find out that I'm faster than everything, I could just spam Cosmic Power or taunt first and Cosmic Power up, and then I could just like Nightshade everything. And the whole point of this is just to chip everything down to where Aerodactyl can just pick them off, or Mew just wins by itself. So of course there are two major problems with this strategy, and that's of course one of them is Entei and Zapdos because they both have pressure, and I'm not so sure if Zero is gonna go for the defensive route. Last time I battled this one guy like who used a pressure Zapdos and a toxic subtoxic Entei versus me, and I was very I wouldn't say annoyed, but like it was an experience. Let's call it that. But it was a different team. This was a way different team, and that was Gen 7 or last year. And I am more prep for that with since I do have like two Pokemon that could like heal Bell up. Mew literally redirects Toxic back with Synchronize. Even though I am Toxic, they'll get Toxic in retaliation, and I do have Heal Bell, so yeah. Um, the whole point of this Mew is just being like another wall, Stallbreaker, Windcon. That's pretty much the whole point of having this Mew. It's very versatile. Like I want to have like a multiple like I want this thing to be the main glue thing for the team, other than like maybe Gliscor. So and yeah, then this will leave us to our last Pokemon, and the last Pokemon we have is Suicune. Alright, so going back into Suicune here. Um, Basically speaking, I wanted Suicune to have like a semi like mixed bulk at first, but then I started to think about it more and more realistically, and I felt I had to like guard against more of his like physical threats, like SD Aegislash, Barraskewda, and Entei. So, and then once I thought about like DD Latios, I began to realize, maybe I should just focus on max, like near max defense. Um, this Suicune set I've pretty much used all season, and I won't lie, this is probably like the most damned Suicune set I've used with the Icy Wind, Ice Scald, Combine, and Rest. Well, maybe having like Substitute over Rest, but like overall it's pretty much the same thing. The main goal of this Suicune is to essentially like check SD Aegislash, Barraskewda, as well as like the Entei. The only thing that I'm kind of concerned about is the possibility that Zapdos and maybe Ladio. No, I would say Latios has Calm Mind, very likely, and has like maybe Refresh, because then like I won't be able to like at least deal with like chipping it down with toxic, gradual toxic chip, and especially like with the fact that like Latios has recovery with Roost, Recover, Refresh, CM, and Psyshock. It could just like bypass Suicune. Again, I don't have a Dark type in this team with this exact team, so you could just very well run that set, or something like a Jagged Dance, like Refresh, like Bruce, some weird like mono attacking like Dragon Dance set. So I think that would be. I don't think he brings that exactly, but that's like something of a concern that I did consider. The speed is actually kind of weird because it's like okay, so with two, like obviously with the speed I outspeed Aegislash with the possible like if it's like neutral nature, so on and so forth. And then I have like was it Latios and Zapdos. After an icy wind, I should be able to like outspeed them, especially like a Latios that's speed creeping. Let's say base uh 330 speed, so or base 100 speeds. Like tiers like Mew is my own Gliscor and Silvally. So I think he'll just like speed creep from Mew in this particular case. So there is one other option or other thing I'll say about this Suicune is that like I did debate between like leftovers and Rocky Helmet, like the very last day before I battled him, and eventually I settled with Rocky Helmet, and it was mostly because I needed the chip for the Aegislash and Barraskewda, as well as a possible Dragon Dance like Latios, and that became more and more like whenever I did like mocks or preps, I realized that set alone just kind of just annoyed the shit out of my whole team. And without that Rocky Helmet chip, I wasn't able to do anything to Latios, and I would always like I'd either win or lose because of something. I don't get like that necessary chip damage, so that was like the main concern. That's why I like had like a Rocky Helmet. Of course, I could get a Skull Burn, but yeah. So pretty much the goal of this Suicune is just to probably just be like a very good defensive wall. And at least like help me like sort of like stabilize the team, I guess you could say. So helps me with like if I get like some calm minds or two, then it could definitely be a strong like win setup like mon and like win condition. So yeah, that's the whole team. And honestly, like I do think this is like probably the best team I could bring for this matchup. If there's any like changes I consider, I don't know, like maybe like a setup Nancy plot Mew, but honestly, I just feel like he has enough revenge killers with priority just to deal with me, and this set's basically designed to like be a win con of it itself, while being like a wall. Well, that's something I noticed that like I made all my sets like sort of win cons and being a wall as well. So yeah, except for Arrow, since that's gonna be our cleaner. So all right, so I'm just gonna get on to the battle. So I'll see you in a bit.